Okay, the first presentation will be presentation mine project which I'm involved. Unfortunately, a colleague who is focusing in our project on the LiDAR data, who prepared this presentation, also couldn't attend. I mean, he is also a co-chair of this session, so I will present this on my own. We are working in Poland. We are working in a project which is funded by the National Science Center, Polish National Science Center, and it's called the Cultural and National Heritage of the Białowieża Forest. Later I will show you where exactly is this forest. And the point is that this is one of the last, or even the last forest that can be considered as a primeval in the European temperate zone. So it's a very specific type of area. And during 3 years of lasting of the project, we would like to make some few things and investigation among the whole Białowieża Forest and including the Białowieża National Park, as well as some archaeological investigation with the use of the modern techniques, mainly LiDAR data, and of course the wide range of specialist analysis also from the field of the natural science, which is also a very important part of our project. And the methods which we are using, starting from archaeology. So first of all, these are the non-destructive methods. The first of course, archive work, the historical maps and text. And I think that the most important thing, which is LAS data, LiDAR stuff, which, let's say, show the real potential of let's say the archaeological resources in the place like Białowieża Forest. Also some standard things like verification of the things that we spotted on the LS data by the field walk. Later some standard things, also geophysical survey, and then we are choosing some proper sites to make some more destructive things like test trenches and drillings. And the second, let's say, part of the project is conducting and cooperation with the specialists from the natural science, from also biology, geography, botanic analysis, palynology, dendrology, anthropology, C14, physical anthropology, archaeology, and a few other. So here you can see where is the Białowieża Forest. It's in the eastern Poland. All of the area of the Białowieża Forest, it's about 1,500 square kilometers, but it's divided between the Poland and Belarus, and only a small part of the Polish, let's say, half of the Białowieża Forest is, let's say, strictly protected in the Bialowieża National Park, and it's related with also various, let's say, political problems, which also touch, unfortunately, our project. And okay, I think that I'll just skip the description of the LiDAR because I think it's obvious. But the fact is that, let's say, the LiDAR just recovered the Białowieża Forest for the archaeology, because before conduction of our project, there was about 150 archaeological sites known on the Polish side of this forest. And when we start our project, when we start to search for some archaeological features in this forest, we spot a lot of more. It's about 1,700 archaeological sites which were verified on the field. Of course, the fact that we are basing so strongly, so much on the LiDAR data is also related with many problems, and of course the quality of the resources of the data. Well, we have this IT system for the country's protection against extreme hazards, which covered almost all the surface of Poland. which is like 4 points per square meter, which is, well, it's okay for archaeology, but it could be of course better, but we were happy that we could use it. But the thing is that only half of the forest was covered by this project at the moment when we start our project. So there was also another half was covered by the data made by the Institute of Forest Research, and they have better quality, like 6 points per 1 meter, but they don't want to share us with the data, even though that it was a totally public thing, and they just said no because they prefer to hire their own archaeologists to just found actually 20,000 of sites, which is something amazing on this quite limited area. So because of that, we were forced to to order it in a GSPRO company some of our own LiDAR data from selected by us areas, which have, let's say, some interesting from our point archaeological sites and features. Well, the average flight was 450 meters, which allow us to let's say to use the footprint of a laser beam, like 13 centimeters wide, and the average density of a point cloud was 14 points per square meter. So it was very precise thing, very precise data, very useful. And here we can see the next few slides is, let's say, a visual comparison of the star. Here is the ISOC thing that I told you at the beginning, the 4 point per square meter, and let's say the local dominance model. We use it also on the ISOC, and here is our thing. This is the same thing, the same, let's say, features, and even, you know, if you look at that, you can notice that it's much more precise. Of course, we could spot those barrels before that, you know, but now we could spot much more different features. And the fact is that, the area of the Białowieża Forest from the, let's say, geomorphological point of view is kind of characteristic. It's quite flat because of the glaciation process. So let's say it's not so diversified, the altitude of the it's not so big, so the local dominance was very useful if we wanted to spot some, let's say, specific features, like for example Celtic fields, which were unknown before the introduction of LiDAR data in Poland, but now they appeared, and it's almost impossible to spot them in the field. Sometimes we can, but we need to know what we are searching for. And here you have other examples of the feature. I will in next slides I will describe them more frequently. So we notice that it's obvious to say that the GSPRO data taken from the GSPRO was much better. And after, recently also the ISOC data, this 4 points per square meter, also appeared for the rest of the area of the Polish part of the Białowieża Forest. So we are able to let's say, we have let's say 100% of coverage of the LiDAR data for the whole our area of interest. And of course, basing on the results of the analysis of the LiDAR data, we made just surface survey with GPS device. Of course, the problem of the accuracy is important, but the thing that we just walk through the forest, and it's quite dense forest, and the accuracy of our equipment was about 5 meters, and this means that each feature which was visible on the LiDAR was also in, let's say, the range of our site. Of course, it was a bit problematic. We used the local dominance model, which even spots the smallest difference in the relief. So sometimes it was kind of hard to let's say to detect those features in the field, and sometimes it was impossible. So these were negative verification, and later we just after we verified, after the verification of sites, we conduct some let's say geophysics things, but well, the thing is that in this kind of conditions, let's say dense forest condition, let's say the results of the geophysics, both magnetometry and ground penetrating radar, wasn't satisfying. We didn't spot anything. I know that there are some other geophysical researches in the Białowieża Forest. They get some even wider area of those researches, but I'm not sure if they found also anything interesting. And of course, the excavations we conduct, and we just choose the most, let's say, promising sites, and we made the excavation. This is, let's say, the one of the barrows from the medieval period with remains of lady bones, and we found the best, let's say, artifacts there. Usually it's nothing, let's say, interesting. I mean, not so many interesting artifacts in the Białowieża, because this area was a kind of periphery almost for all of the time of prehistory and early history on the Polish area. But the fact is that, you know, still if we have potteries, it's very important. And as you can see, the chronology of investigated features is quite different. I mean, the oldest known, it's like from the early Iron Age, but there are some limited number of even older. Some we are finding some flintstones from the Neolith, but it's in general it's rare. And some, I'll just show you some example of features, besides some obvious things like, let's say, barrows, typical barrows with burials. We have occupies, which could be quite frequently misunderstood with let's say, burials. But the fact the Białowieża is a specific area because it was, let's say, protected from let's say 15th, 16th century, because this area was considered to be as some kind of area for hunting made for Polish kings at the beginning, and after partitions also for the Russian Tsar. So this area was protected because they wanted to keep the animals inside, and this creates some good let's say the forest economy was absent there in a big way. So this goes that we are able to spot many interesting let's say features which are mainly absent in other forests in Poland. And here we have the example of dark houses, which are very interesting objects, and most of them were known before the introduction of lighter data, because they are very characteristic and it's quite easy to find them in the field. And some of them are really impressive. And of course, like we might say, standard barrows. Usually they are empty, especially the one from the early medieval, because it was related with the burial right. They just, you know, throw the remains on the surface of the barrel. And very interesting thing, the traces of prehistoric fields, so-called Celtic fields, which, as I said before, they were totally unknown before the introduction of LiDAR, and suddenly appears quite a lot of them, especially in the Białowieża Forest, which we could find whole the systems. And this is we suppose that it might be a stronghold. However, it's located in the Białowieża National Park, and we don't have access to make some invasive researches, unfortunately, because the let's say the authorities of the park are very, let's say, they don't want to allow us to enter. Even some more contemporary things like trenches from the war trenches, some sound exploitations places, and more let's say contemporary settlements. And this is interesting because these are the badger sets, places where these nice animals, which can appear not really nice if you, for example, walk in the area. They live there, and we make some cooperation with the Institute of the Biology of Mammals in the Białowieża. We are just searching using the LiDAR data, the places of their homes. They are creating some really sophisticated sets, like some small animal cities. And let's say that this GSPRO LiDAR data allow us to detect them even more, because we can see some hills, but in the, let's say, 4-point accuracy analyze data, it was sometimes impossible to trace off the stuff, all these smaller holes, and now it's much more easier, and it's also a very, let's say, promising case study. And later we are just, of course, storing our results of the LiDAR detection, of the verification of the remotes of the geophysics, and let's say our also excavations and natural analysis we store in the GIS data. So I mean some let's say regular template of our, let's say, steps of implementation. And well, this how our, let's say, results look. Actually, we 1 month ago we made let's say 2-week field survey, and we just investigated all of the remained areas. So we might say that we cover by our surface survey almost all of our area of interest. And at this moment we have 1,723 verified on the field sites. I know that there are some archaeologists that claim that there is they found 20,000 of archaeological sites on this area, which is I think overreacted. Much overreacted. And well, let's say the problems which we are meeting, the chronology of sites and the function, for example, the function of barrows and molds. For example, even from the point of the LiDAR data, it's impossible to let's say say what's the chronology. Even sometimes after the excavation we have the problems, but if we don't let's say detect any material, any pottery, it's quite difficult. And well, limited accuracy of analyzed data, this is something obvious. And verification of the results of non-invasive methods are also difficult in this let's say conditions that we have, and difficult access to some area of our interest. And the questions, well, as I said before, chronology, typology of the barrows, interpretation of field system, and other thing, the cooperation with the forester, with local authorities, which is also quite of difficult, and some, let's say, problems related with the implementation of the whole project and its dissemination of the data that, I mean, the information that we receive among the local society, and the conclusion. Some, let's say, this is very interesting area of interest, and especially that, as I said, the LiDAR give totally new possibilities to let's say to make this investigation. And this is the last year of our project, and I hope that next year CAA I'll be able to show you some more final results. So thank you very much. If you have some short question, you can ask me.